So we're going to hand out the negative 10/3 multiplication to the negative 1/4. A negative times a negative is a positive, and 10/3 times 1/4, multiply straight across, we get 10/12. Think about 10/12 though. We can reduce that down to 5/6. Notice that helped us because now we have our common denominator. And I'll bring down that beginning fraction. So if we have a common denominator, we see 3, 6, and 6. We should make this first one have a denominator of 6. 3 times 2 is 6. So 16 times 2 gives us 32. I always like to bring it down so that I'm only focusing on one line at a time. Now I can ignore all of the rest of this other stuff and just focus on this problem. Notice we can combine like terms here. These two are constant terms, and that one's just your variable term. So if I have 32/6 and 5/6, together I have 37/6. 37/6 is equal to 6 goes into 37 6 times with 1 left over. So we end up with 6th and a 6th plus negative 10 over 6x. Again, that's an improper fraction, so I'm going to want to change that. 6 and 1/6 plus 6 goes into 10 one time with 4 left over. So that would be 4 over 6, which reduces to 2 over 3. Okay, and let's go to example 3. On exercise 3, I'd really like you to do these by yourself. Try them. You can even check it with a partner and then check with me, talk with a partner about it. The more you try by yourself, the more that you'll, the more likely you are to get it. So let's rewrite the following expressions in standard form by finding the product and collecting like terms. So negative 6 and 1/3. I see it's subtracting this distributive property, so I'm going to write it as plus negative 1/2 and bring everything else down. Notice your parentheses there, so let's do some multiplying. Let's get rid of negative 1/2 times positive 1/2. A negative times a positive is a negative, and 1/2 times 1/2 gives us 1/4. Negative 1/2 times y gives me plus negative 1/2 y. And let's bring down negative 6 and 1/3. Notice that we have constant term, constant term. This one is a variable term. So if I'm going to combine these, they have to have a common denominator. Between 3 and 4, it should be 12. 3 times 4 gives me 12, so 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12, so 1 times 3 is 3. So when I combine these, I get negative 6 and same sign, add and keep. Negative 6 and 7/12. And then I'm going to bring this part straight down because it is a variable term. There's nothing I can combine with it. Two-thirds plus 1/3, parentheses, 1/4 f minus 1 and 1/3. Notice there is no subtraction there, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of my parentheses by doing the distributive property. 1/3 times 1/4 f gives me 1/12 f. 1/3 times negative 1 and 1/3 If you change that to an improper fraction, you get -4/3. That might help you. So if you multiply those, multiply straight across, a positive times a negative is a negative. 1 times 4 gives me 4, and 3 times 3 gives me 9. And I'll bring down that first part of the problem. Notice that we have a constant term and constant, so we could put those together, but this one is a variable term, so we're going to leave that one alone. I'm just going to go ahead and bring that one down so I don't forget about it. And we have 2/3 plus -4/9. 2/3 plus -4/9. Write it to the side so I can see it without all that other stuff around. I know that I need a common denominator. 3 times 3 is 9, so 2 times 3 is 6. This one stays the same. Same sign, add and keep, but these are different signs, so we subtract. Take the sign of the larger, it's positive. So I end up with 1/12 F plus 2/9. Okay, it says example 4. Model how to write the expression in standard form using the rules of rational numbers.